mentality. Right now, we have many Africans who have colonial mentality because we have been grown in these colonial systems. So we think that we need to get job in order for us to grow. We need to be hired in order for us to achieve. The thing that is not true. So we need to decolonize our education systems. And the decolonization of education systems is difficult because we who are in leadership are those who are beneficiaries of these colonial systems. And also we have passed through these colonial systems. So we don't see the wrong thing in these systems. Maybe someone who is outside there can see that this is the wrong education system. So we need right leadership in these systems. We need our leaders to take decisive action. I saw in Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traore has introduced lectures of citizenship and civics in schools and universities. You know why? Because you have to prepare to equip young people or students about civics and citizenship. How are you going to become a good citizen? How are you going to become engineer? What is your benefit as engineer to the communities? What kind of engineer you're going to be? You want to be a doctor. What kind of doctor you're going to be? And why you are going to be a doctor? What's the purpose of you becoming the doctor? Just imagine we have engineers who cannot even build roads. It's Chinese who are building our roads. So what kind of engineer are we have? So we have to ask ourselves. So if we can starting to build our students, our young men and women, that you need to become an engineer who is going to build our roads, not engineer who are going to be hired in Chinese companies, not engineers who are going to stay home and moving with brown envelope asking for jobs. We have to teach our students. We have to prepare them and equip well with a good knowledge and skills. And that is where we can decolonize our education systems. The way we get teachers also is a problem. In Africa, those who have failed to get high marks or high pass are those who are becoming teachers. So just imagine. So we need those who are getting first classes, who are so intelligent. We need them to become teachers. But those who are intelligent, they learn to politics. They learn to become member of parliaments, to become ministers. And when they took offices, they do nothing. Africa politics has destroyed this continent. We need to stop politics. Politics has killed Africa. And that's why I have been saying that one thing that Africa we have given that are destroying us is something called democracy. Democracy has destroyed Africa. Democracy is good, but the way Africa we are implementing democracy, it is dangerous. It is dangerous. Democracy in Africa is destroying everything. Politics, everywhere we are talking politics. We are not competent. We are not, even now our politics have something called corruption. If you have money, you can become a minister. If you have money, you can become a member of parliament. Instead of having a knowledge, if you have money, even you are full, you can become a minister. You can become a member of parliament. So just imagine, these members of parliament are those who are going to take offices. Do you think they can change anything? No. So we need to change almost many things in this continent, starting with education systems, but also the way we live as Africans, our governance systems. But all in all, it's because of this colonial education. So colonial education has created purposely to destroy the minds of Africans. So we need to decolonize our education systems, and we need Africans to sit down to say and to speak from our heart that these things will not help us. If Chinese have even a single bush of coffee, but they know how to process coffee. If others, they don't have cocoa tree, but they know to process cocoa. What's wrong with us who have cocoa? If some people, They don't have these critical minerals, but they know how to manufacture these mobile phones, smartphones. They know how to add value. They don't have these resources, but we who have these resources, we are the ones who know nothing. So we need to change our education systems. Apart from that, let us now move to the issue of other issues such as governance systems as well as unity in this continent. Those are about education. So if you have more, make sure that you share with us through the comment section. What is your opinions? What is your perspectives? What is your views on education systems in Africa, and what we can do as Africans to make sure that our education are giving meaning to our daily life. Let us now move to the issue of governance. Professor has touched the issue of governance, and of course I will try to add something from what Professor has said. Professor has almost spoken everything, but let me and you try to add something to what Professor has said. All of us, we know that Africa, or our nations, are the product of Berlin Conference. So when African countries attain independence, there are those who thought that these countries will come together. And of course, at that time, during independence, many leaders have the vision of uniting this continent. So when African leaders at that time, our founding fathers, came with ideas of uniting this continent, those who divided this continent, because they divided this continent purposely for them to get resources, for them to control Africa, they introduced another thing. Of course, democracy started from Africa, but they take our democracy and add something called multipartyism and periodic election. So this multipartyism, it means, it looks like has meaning, maybe giving people right to choose to express themselves. But behind of this multipartyism, those who introduced this multipartyism, they have one thing in their mind, that this thing will divide Africans. These countries are already divided. We are already divided into this small piece of countries, Lesotho, Ethiopia, whatever, Nigeria, Ghana. So these also need to be divided, because if you allow Ethiopia and maybe Kenya to unite, it will be difficult to control these countries. So what they did is to introduce something called democracy. And in democracy, of course, democracy is originated from Africa. We are the ones who started this thing called democracy. But what they introduced, after taking our democracy, when we were colonized, our own thing was taken. So there's a generation that don't know what happened. Some people taken to slavery. So there's a generation that remain here in the continent that don't know what in the previous was happening. You see, they are just taught about, and that's why people, maybe many of us, we know that maybe Africa started after colonialism. We know the history of Africa after colonialism, but we have our own governance systems before coming of colonizers, before coming of Europeans. We have our own thing. We have our own way of treating our people. Today, if you ask Africans, how do we treat our people? They don't know. We think that we have been going to hospitals. We didn't have hospitals at that time, but we have treating our people. We have our own doctors. But when colonizers came, they separate us from our history, from our reality, and they introduced their own things that started to teach people. So things changing generation to generation up to our generation. You see, that's what they did. So to fear that if these countries are going to unite, and if they will unite, it will be difficult to control them, they introduce something called, within their countries, they have to be divided also. How is to introduce multipartyism? You see, So in a single country, people are being divided into ideologies. We know that we are divided into tribes, but we are also divided into ideologies, into these political parties. And these political parties are more powerful because are being sponsored. There's someone who is giving us money to run election, to run campaign. You see how people are being divided. So in our democracy, they introduced something called multi-party, the thing that is dividing people. Right now, if you go in many African countries, African nations, you find that people are not talking to each other. Even relatives are not talking to each other because of different ideologies, because of these political parties. You find that a brother is fighting against brothers. Why? Because of these political parties. So that's how Africa, we were divided. And that's why it is difficult right now to get patriotic leaders. It is difficult because now what they're doing, as the professor said, they take our intelligent people. They provide scholarships. You know, you are good, you are intelligent, go and study in Harvard, go and study somewhere. So they do like that. Then they prepare that person to become a leader. So when you have been taken to those universities, those schools, they prepare you to become their puppet. So they teach you democracy, whatever, good governance, whatever they call, they give the meaning of good names, but at the end of the day, they have their own interest. If they saw you have influence, they will bring you near to make sure that you are going to be their best friend. So they will try to do everything. They manipulate Africa like that. So when we talk about good governance or governance in Africa, we need to introduce our own governance systems. We need to understand that we Africans, we have our own governance systems. We need to introduce our own governance system that is moving or is relating to our culture, our reality. Also, Professor has touched the issue of ideas of Kwame Nkrumah. Yes, we see that Kwame Nkrumah has a lot of ideas, but right now, it looks like we are not implementing the ideas of Kwame Nkrumah. And Professor has shocked that the books of Kwame Nkrumah were removed from libraries. You see, Nkrumah has ideas, but when they succeeded to overthrow Kwame Nkrumah, they make sure that even books written by Kwame Nkrumah were removed from libraries so that the coming generation or the generation cannot understand the ideas of Nkrumah. Right now, we think that what Europeans are telling us are what is right. It looks like it's new, but there's nothing new. Everything already spoken by our founding fathers. So I think we need to embrace the ideas of Kwame Nkrumah, Nyerere, and the other founding fathers. They have so visionary. They don't have access to these social media like we have right now, but they are so visionary. So, and how we can implement, that is another issue. And that is where difficulty comes, that we are divided in such a way. If you are a Ghanaian, you cannot implement the idea of Nyerere because Nyerere is not your countrymate, or is not coming from your country. You see, Patrice Emery Lumumba, because he was Congolese, no one cared about what Lumumba said. I think we need to find a way that can bring all of us together to see how we can implement these ideas. So, lovely family, friends, fellow Africans, let us not speak for too long. I'm trying to add something from what Professor has said. Up to that, let me say thank you. Have a nice time. See you next time. I'm waiting to hear from you more, because you have more things you can share with us through the comment section. And also, don't forget to share this video to other Africans who are in the continent and or those who are also in the diaspora. This message is so powerful from Professor. All of us must reach and get this message. Thank you.
Thank you, Africa, Mama Africa. Oh, yeah. You make Africa great. Thank you, Africa. Thank you, Africa.